If you blend it, they will come. If you blend it, they will come. Joe Lankford, master blender of Seattle Pipe Club, is the kind of man who has tobacco fields of dreams. Startled awake one night at 2 a.m., the epiphany that is Mississippi River revealed itself to Lankford as he slept, teetering on the edge of unconsciousness. Old Joe said he sat straight up in bed and found his journal, where he recorded each leaf from his midnight revelation. In the morning, when he composed the leaves together, he found the dream recipe he had jotted down in the middle of the night was perfect and required no amendment. SPC Chief Matt Gus describes Lankford's blending technique as functioning similar to the way Beethoven could play music after he had lost his hearing. Lankford could sense the flavor of individual leaves in his mind, like a smoky tobacco Jedi.
What I did when I started blending tobaccos is about every type of raw tobacco I could get from just about every company that would sell it to me. And I sat in the living room with my pipes and all that tobacco, and I smoked the bowl of each one of them just to see what nuances were.
This ability, much like having perfect pitch as a musician, is what has earned Lankford his reputation as a master blender, and given Seattle Pipe Club the right to lay claim to being the most famous pipe club in the world. It is happy accident that the cakes resemble plum pudding, a British dessert served at Christmas. However, Lankford said that the name comes from an old book on tobacco, where the author described Latakia leaf as having a flavor resembling plum pudding. There is no actual topping on the blend, and Lankford says no casing or sauce whatsoever, just a blend bearing the savory spice of stewed fruit. Plum Pudding is currently manufactured by Sutliff Tobacco, America's oldest tobacco company. If you remember the Pipes and Cigars version, the crumble cake was a bit more tightly pressed. Since moving to Sutliff, the cakes appear to be a bit looser, and while some remain fused together in the tin, it is common to see large broken chunks. Rubbing out the cakes is soft and easy when the tobacco is moist, and Lankford said the Sutliff press is much easier to prepare. Many long-time plum pudding enthusiasts swear by rubbing it out into small cereal-sized chunks to help retain consistent flavor throughout the bowl. This can make the pack feel a bit like gravel, but is admittedly a nice way to smoke the blend.
And tobacco blend from there.
I don't know. Oh, I know. They're on top of the steak.
Okay.
I was gonna put them in the steak.
Okay.
Let me go get them.
Okay, that's Cipri and Latakia. And then it's got some blended Turkish ribbon
Okay.
and some red Virginia. Actually, for mine, I used the red cake from McClellan's. That's a Perique
Oh, yeah.
and a touch of Black Stone, Virginia, and some plain black Cavendish.
The tin note is smoky and rich. The sour sweetness from the Orientals conjure the piquant aroma of a faraway place, and the Latakia's campfire flavor is balanced with the musk of fermented Perique. However, being a crumble cake, the scents are slightly more subdued as the juices have been melded into one. Far from being an on-the-nose lat bomb, the complexity of the mixture lends a subtlety to the blend. The arrangement of flavors and aromas are well balanced. The red Virginias and Orientals dance on the palate. The Perique and Latakia press together, harmonizing the flavor. Stoved Virginia and black Cavendish expand across the tongue into billowy white plumes of smoke, coating the entire mouth in a delicious velvety softness. The tried and true test of any English or Balkan blend for me is this. Do the aromas remind me of the back right floorboard of the 1979 station wagon of my high school bandmate? Does the back of the nose get that essence of my father's old musty tackle box, carefully placed in the garage? There's an ethereal essence that stands out in some blends, kind of like how cooking in your grandmother's cast iron pan makes food taste better. You don't know what it is, you can't describe it, but you know it when you taste it. Remember, the British scoured the earth and made an empire chasing after better tasting flavors and spices for their teas and tobacco. A good English blend or English Balkan like this needs flavor, yes, but a great English blend takes you back to a different time, using the smoke of a mixture of aromatic herbs to trigger sense memories in your mind. Now, a lot of people have been comparing this blend to Penzance. They're both Balkan blends, so that seems fair. However, Penzance doesn't contain Perique. That said, many dare to speak the words that Plum Pudding might actually be better. As you can see here, I'm going over to tobaccoreviews.com on the Plum Pudding page and did a search for the word Penzance. Found 30 references. Forget Penzance, Plum Pudding is everything that Penzance is or was and so much better. People are saying that it's really hard to find Penzance, and so they're switching over to Plum Pudding, but they're also saying that Plum Pudding is better than Penzance. A lot of people say that it reminds them of Penzance, even in the way they're both kind of pressed. This is up there with Penzance, similar to Penzance, but smoother and sweeter. This tobacco is very tasty. It sort of is like Penzance, but sweeter. Let me just say this is better than Penzance. This near perfect blend reminds me of Penzance without the hard-edged latakia. You could see it's just over and over. Some have stated this is similar to Penzance, but I feel that it's sweeter. That this is basically Penzance, but without the typical Balkan bitter undertone of crushed walnuts. It basically goes on like that forever. You can check it out for yourself. So is Plum Pudding better than Penzance? Well, Penzance is expensive because it's so hard to come by. It's not rocket science, it's simple economics, supply and demand. Penzance is 5 times more expensive than Plum Pudding, but does it taste 5 times better? Of course not. Word of mouth is a good indication, but I wanted the opinion of an expert in England. And so in a live chat, I asked the well-known YouTube piper Simon from London Calling with Simon which blend he thought was best. He said that when Penzance first came out that he had a great deal of it, but that he hasn't been able to find it in a long time. When I asked him if he thought Plum Pudding was better, he said whether one is better than the other, that's an impossible thing to say. I think it's a matter of taste. But he said if I asked the question slightly differently, like which blend would you say is a better go-to daily smoke, he said, that one I might agree with you that Plum Pudding might be a better all-time smoke. One, you can get it easy enough to buy as opposed to Penzance, which is nigh on impossible, and Penzance is quite a rich smoke and may not be to everybody's taste on a daily basis. But the very claim that Plum Pudding might rival that hollowed ground inside the small square golden tin of Penzance is enough to tell you that if you haven't tried Plum Pudding, you're missing out. And I wouldn't go so far as to call Plum Pudding the poor man's Penzance. The Lankford blend is not cheap. And they have a premium leaf version that is available called Special Reserve that old Joe said smokes great. When I asked Lankford what he thought about people saying he'd bested the most sought-after tobacco on the market.
Don't know why anybody would want to smoke the most expensive tobacco in the world. The Plum Pudding is as good as it is. Plum Pudding is a lot softer on the edges. Virginias are kind of bitey to a lot of people. And if you put a little bit of Stove Virginia and Black Cavendish Plain in it, it'll soften it up really nice.
Now, do you think also that maybe that the Perique, because now Penzance doesn't have Perique, that the Perique is maybe kind of giving a little bit of more depth to those Virginias too, to kind of mellow them out a little bit more like a vapor does?
I think so, yeah. Exactly. That's why I use so much Perique is so that it'll help mellow out the Virginias, and it does a fantastic job.
Well, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Both the experts and word of mouth is saying that Plum Pudding might indeed be better than Penzance. What do I think? Well, I don't know. I've never had Penzance. Let me go see how much. Oh my God! $87 for a 2-ounce tin. Are you kidding me? This is insane. This one's not going to go here. This one is 8 ounces. This has got $165. It's got 6 bids. It's going to go for $165 right there. Let me see if there's anything else. There's that 6-bid one here. Let's see what else there is. $155, $80. This guy wants $100 a tin. Well, unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to get some of that. I'll have to tell my girlfriend it's for science. But first, before we can make that happen, we've got to decide which is our most noble challenger. Which of these tins do we send up against the British icon? The qualifying round, the Balkan Brawl, the Battle Seattle, Plum Pudding versus Plum Pudding Special Reserve. How much difference does a more quality leaf make? That's in the next series. Stay tuned for more info. This review started with a ham-fisted reference to Field of Dreams. That movie is ingrained in the blood of the nation. Small family farm, sold out by the banks. Dad pulls on his blue jeans every day and goes out swinging for the fences. Betting on a long shot, he finds a dream. That's a lot like the story of Joe Lankford. Here are a few pictures I took of Kevin Costner. I've been a large bearded fly on the wall at a few of his discussions and interviews. He's told some interesting stories about the film. He said the character played by James Earl Jones, the cantankerous author, was originally written as J.D. Salinger, but that the reclusive author in real life had demanded not to be named in the film. The character is obviously him, though the idea that Kevin Costner could have lured out the real J.D. Salinger to watch a ball game seems like a bit of a stretch. He almost didn't make the film at all. He had already been cast in the movie Revenge that no one remembers. Costner had read The Field of Dreams and wanted to do it, but he thought he would have to pass due to his contract with that movie that starts with an R, can't remember it already. So he told the Suits, "Dear Suits, I'm gonna go make this little movie in the corn, see you later." Something to that effect. If he wouldn't have told the Suits to stuff it, we might not have even heard of the movie Field of Dreams. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for stopping by Old Hollywood. Let us know in the comments below if you've had Penzance and Plum Pudding. We need your expertise right now. What do you think? Thanks for watching Old Hollywood Briar. Please subscribe and hit the thumbs up button to ensure I can keep delivering dad jokes and hammy one-liners from underneath the Hollywood sign. Happy temping.